All right, YouTube. Let's go to it. We're going to go live on Facebook, Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Here we go. Here we go. All righty. Welcome. Welcome back on this Wednesday. A happy Wednesday, a hump day for you. Let's get to it. We're going to get to the next side of the week. We're going to get closer to the weekend. Hope you're having a good week so far. But let's keep the energy up. Let's keep the enthusiasm up. Let's keep the love going. Appreciate you joining me today. Looking forward to another great show for you here on Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Listen live on the Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com. If you can, just jump in there at any time to check it out. If not, right here on Facebook and YouTube, we got all the action all for you right now. Let's get to it. Got a lot to talk about. The state of Arizona, has done something very unique, very odd. Or no, is it odd? Let's get to that once we come back right after this break, right here on Hanna Time. Here we go. Coming back. 3, 2. All right, welcome back. Global Sports Broadcasting Network. Cornelius Brad Hanna, your host right here on Hanna Time. And also right here on Global Sports Broadcasting Network.com, a live stream. More than welcome to jump in anytime to say hello to anybody who wants to come in and chime in on their comments. Love to see you. Looking forward to seeing your comments. I have more to talk about too. What a day this is going to be for people to get into some politics. What kind of politics are you looking forward to? I'm going to say hi to more people popping in, but I got a lot of things on the table that is political, that is controversial, that is going to tap into the social world of things, societal things, besides the NFL and football itself we'll get into. But let me get off to the top right now. The state of Arizona, big vote on transgender athletes. Lavar Ball, his son's playing basketball, blames his white wife for son's body size. Tons of NFL player news and free agency on the show. Are the Jaguars preparing for London and moving to London? And how much is Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott really worth? Word around in Pittsburgh that Steeler quarterback Big Ben will be ready and better than ever. And the Bengals, once again, for the fourth time in their history, will have the number 1 overall draft pick. Their history on this pick, not quite good. Couple of duds in there, too. All right, let's say hi to some people popping in. I got to say hi. Hey, Consuela, how are you? Welcome in. I want to get strong and heavy on this right away. Hey, Felix, for the state of Arizona did something yesterday. A big vote on Tuesday. The Arizona House voted to ban transgenders, girls, and women from participating in intramural or interscholastic athletics that does not match the biological sex. The bill passed in Arizona, the Arizona House, 31-29, a close vote. The bill sponsored by Representative Nancy Bardo relies on 3-part tests to determine eligibility to participate on a team. Talking about transgenders. especially for women's sports. This is what it's for. The student's internal and external reproductive anatomy, the student's normal, natural produced levels of testosterone, and the analysis of the student's genetic makeup was the reason why this went to a vote. Democrats dubbed the bill the Show Me Your Genitals bill. They claimed the bill was transphobic and unnecessary. Bartow described her bill as it's not an anti anything, it's a pro woman and pro girl. So you see two sides of it. Representative Warren Pearson read testimony from a biological male identifying as a female who agrees and fully supports the bill, which is nice and encouraging. Transgender supporting the bill that transgender participating in women girls sports in the state of Arizona cannot happen anymore. It's been voted that it will never happen. The letter from this transgender read this or said this: our gender identities are not under attack because the distinction in athletic is not based on one's gender identity, but sex, and those are very important distinctions. Gender identity is unquestionably and also importantly, or however, sex is quantifiably, and the subject of sports is especially relevant. This comes from a transgender talking about sports in Arizona, girls, women's sports. The state of Arizona, once again, voted yesterday. The House, Arizona House, voted 31-29 to ban transgender girls and women from participating in intramural, interscholastic athletics that does not match the biological sex. I agree with it. We've talked about this before. This is something that is very serious. If there are enough transgender athletes, then there needs to be an area on a team in competition, a place for them to compete against each other, not against girls who biologically, that I agree with, don't have a shot going up against a male-born human being who transgender is a female participating in sports, women's sports, girls' sports, and dominating that sport does not make sense. Does not make sense. I don't even know how we even got to that point, meaning that we took this long to separate and understand and respect and recognize a transgender. Hopefully there are more transgender in a way of for competition so they have a place to compete on a team. Yes, you are on your high school team. There's boys, there's girls, and there's a transgender side of it. That to me is fine. But I feel I have a daughter. My daughter going up against a male transgender into female, what shot does she have? Is it fair competition? And biologically, as Nancy Bartow, the representative who pitched this bill, this law, okay, on three parts to determine eligibility to participate on a team: the student's internal and external reproductive anatomy, the student's normal, natural produced levels of testosterone, or in any analysis of the student's genetic makeup. It was voted 31-29 in the state of Arizona. No longer transgender can play in girls and women athletics in the state of Arizona. I think more states will follow this. I'm not quite sure why the other side fights this. They're not being discriminated against. They just need a place. It's very difficult. The whole transition's difficult, not just for society, but also for them, the individual. And it's okay if there is a gender that we are now identifying, then make sure it is fair for competition and not and ignore God given biological birth to what we are. Now, if there are separations because of what we're talking about, fine. I'm okay with it. I'm not bashing anybody personally. I just want to see fair competition in athletics. Athletics. If anybody cannot understand that, then they need to be educated themselves. Would love to see a transgender competition among transgenders. Love it. It's competition. It's athletics. It's sport. Just not enough of them right now, I guess, to accumulate a team or a gender. Like when you ran track in high school or college, there's men and women, girls and boys team. Now is transgender team or event, right? That's how it goes. I don't know why that is so difficult, other than there's not enough competition for transgenders to compete against each other. So they place them against the girls. Now, if now it's kind of hard. If you line up in 100-yard dash and then you got this transgender next to you, you got your daughter next to him or her in lane 2, and 3 and 4, there's other ones, and there's another transgender on there, right? Gunshot, boom, 100-yard dash. There's the winner, right? Your daughter's 3rd or 4th place, and she loses to the transgender. Not right, not fair, the way I look at it, biologically. But if you're looking for a place for them to compete, then just put them out there. Now, it may be difficult. It may be difficult. Now, is to find the other competitors. But maybe this is the beginning, right? It is the beginning of more of this, to see more of them competing against each other. I hope you understand that. I'm not trying to be overly sensitive to either side. I'm just trying to identify what Arizona has done yesterday, voting 31-29, banning any transgender competing in female girls sports scholastics in the state of Arizona. Other states are following through. I think this is fair. Doesn't matter if I have a daughter or not, but I do. But as a sports fan, as an athlete who has competed, tell me if that's fair competition. And give me a good argument if it is. I'm not disqualifying a gender. I'm talking about sports. Talking about sports. Okay. I remember, I'll give you a story, how really sensitive it really is, in school campuses, on elementary school. I've been on school campuses for many years now. All right. I've volunteered my time. I've taught in classrooms. I've volunteered, and I had this opportunity to work with a junior high school, and I was asked to go out and get everybody lined up. Okay, just wanted to participate. I get them all lined up. So I thought by normal stuff, you put the boys there and the girls there, and and I let the ladies go in first, and I'm walked them in. Okay, and then the boys had to wait for the girls to go in first, and teaching the boys about some mannerisms, some being a gentleman, right? I just thought I was doing a good thing. Well, the day ends. Principal comes over and talks to me. He goes, "Hey, I heard you're doing a good job. I just want to talk to you about one thing. It's very sensitive. It's not easy, but it is what we got to do." Says that there was a student that was in line, and I heard that you separate everybody, but unfortunately, that person didn't feel comfortable because they are a transgender, a boy who felt like belonged on the girls' line and just felt super uncomfortable. So please, next time, do not separate the lines. Keep everybody together so this person can stay involved and don't feel uncomfortable. I get it. I'm sensitive to that. I understand that and I don't want to hurt somebody who's trying to develop and grow into themselves. Not to talk and get off course about transgender in sports, but that is a situation that is real. And you don't know it. So there is that situation. But knowingly that you are, and knowingly that you're going to line up against another girl, and knowingly that you were born a boy, and you have all these different levels of testosterone and growth and development, it's not fair. That's not fair. Okay. So I hope my little story and how sensitive it really is. But when it comes to sports, please give the girls who are biologically girls a fair chance to compete. That's my thing. Give them a chance. Keep it that way. And we will grow into an area with transgender, and there will be an Olympic event that has transgender in it also. It's fair. It's okay. I don't think anybody's going to be upset. It is what it is. And not to denounce it, it's just life. It's what we are now. All right. More comments coming in. Felix, Todd, Consuela is good morning. Joe Peccolo, Cassandra in the house, Dan in the house. We have Bob Rocco. Let me go fast. Felix says, let them their own sport league. I agree, Felix. I do. I mean, they can compete, but long as there's competition for them. David, Roger, Sean, Jose, Tim, Romain, Danny. Is that Danny or Danny Rogers in the house? All right. I got another topic today. And Lavar Ball, the big daddy of his sons playing basketball. Check this out. If this doesn't bother you even more. Now, Lavar Ball, the father of this family, the Ball family, we know there's a lot of controversy around it, but this got to be the worst of all. Besides what you may have not done with your sons and your determination to be big and money and everything, I don't care as much as this one. This one bothers me. This one stinks. This one's disgusting and it's horrible. Lavar Ball blames his son's lack of having a man's body on his wife, his white wife, Caucasian wife, during Tuesday's edition of Undisputed on national television. He's got balls to say that his son's lack of having a body of a man, to which he explained that it had to do with their mother being Caucasian. Now, tell me that doesn't bother you. I don't, whatever race you are, gender, but overall, it is just horrible. Horrible. This man is just, what the hell is he thinking? You got a wife there for one, and you just totally denounced that. Blaming her, throwing her under the, as if she's a woman and she's white and the body of a black man. I mean, didn't somebody get fired for saying the opposite? Didn't some sports betting bookie, national TV guy on CBS get fired because he was talking about a black man's body is athletically this, and this? Then he gets fired for it. And that's like 3 decades ago. But isn't it ironic that the reversal and how people still want to point fingers? You know what? If there's racism and discrimination, it's all over on both sides. I don't know how heavy and big and deep it goes anymore. I think we're actually improving. I think we're getting better at it. But this is another example that it's all races have their issues and don't realize what the freak they're saying sometimes. Did he really understand what he said? Or do you just think that's not discriminating against a race, against a woman? For one. Now, if you want to stand out there and just be scientifically and biologically talking about it, fine. It is what it is. There are, you can go get a dog. You got the Brutus pit bull dog. You got dogs all different sizes. It's just what they are. Humans are the same thing. That's not an issue of talking about biological. But when you bring in the racial card like he did, why does anybody want to deal with this guy? And why isn't this a bigger deal anyway? Because if it was on the other side of another race or something else, it would be horrible all over the news. But I'm bringing this up because this was yesterday, and it's nobody's talking about it, but I have to. It's sports related. And again, Lavar Ball, Tuesday, on Undisputed on Fox, was asked about his son's lack of having a body of a man, to which he explained that it had to do with their mother being Caucasian. I'm bringing political stuff today. I made a determination with the top story with Arizona's vote on transgender, biological stuff. But now when you, oh my gosh, people, this is all wrong. This is all wrong. This guy is actually disgusting to me. You know, I just cannot believe. And you know what? And I'm watching that, and the people on the set are giggling. If you watch the episode, the edition of Undisputed from yesterday, after he says it, they giggle. Like, I don't know if they're uncomfortable, but man, if I heard that, I would say, sir, did you understand what you just said? I would question him. But no, they rolled with it. No big deal. No big deal. Big mistake. Big mistake. That guy should have been grilled at that moment. Grilled on the air. Put him on the spot. Because somebody else would have been if it was somebody else. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable what we just check out the video. Go online. I think I may have posted it. If I didn't post it, I'll repost it. Okay? All right. Brendan Grady in the house. Hey, Brendan. Todd says Lavar Ball thinks he is the smartest guy around. He's doing some great. He's made a lot of money. He's smart in that aspect. But when it comes to some things about societal stuff, he is out of touch. And he just exposed his card big time yesterday. All right, let's get into more. Let's get off the political stage and get away from it. All right, we'll come back to it later, rephrase things, okay? But I do want to get into the NFL in the details of free agency and the activity of player movement. We're just what? How many days away, folks? 14 days away from free agency. 14 days away from the opening bell at 4 p.m. Eastern time. The NFL free agency begins. And this where it all really gets exciting, because right now teams are trying to release players, fix their rosters, prepare for money situations, try to sign a guy or look at a guy. Who knows what they're talking under the table, quietly, secretly getting prepared for the opening bell of free agency. Building your roster. Go getting the guys that you want for next year. It's a big deal. I think it's bigger than the NFL draft. To me, the free agency in the NFL is a lot bigger than the NFL draft. Because you can gobble up and quickly turn your season around for next year, I should say, with a couple of nice picks or free agency pickups. One player is not going to play next year. Mike Adams is calling it a career after 16 seasons, 16 years, played on multiple teams, had a great 34-year-old, did it all. Wish him best of luck. Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator, has been promoted with the Buffalo Bills as an assistant head coach. He's been around. He's been a good one. He's a good coach. Good for him. Devin McCourty, New England Patriots, is being sorted out and pursued, it seems like, because there's interest from Miami. The Miami Dolphins. Keep an eye on the Miami Dolphins. You laughed at them last year. They came on strong at the end of the year, by the way. They played very well. They weren't the laughing stock at one point. But hear this out. Devin McCourty is a good defensive back. Played for the New England Patriots. Got a lot of history. Okay, he's 32 years old, though. New England may not want to tag him and keep him. May want to move on. Free up more money. But New England is in a transition. Not only McCourty is being sought out or high interest coming out of Miami, from what we're hearing. Brian Flores is the former coach in Miami, in New England. He's the head coach of Miami, the former assistant coach, DC in New England. Think about that. Flores loved to have McCourty in Miami, understanding the system, the defensive system in Miami. Also in Miami is a possibility of Joe Thuney. Miami Herald reports the Dolphins are expected to pursue the offensive guard of the New England Patriots. The Patriots continue to show that they are ready to rebuild. There is a clear indication that the process of rebuilding and contracts and freeing up money, this is the beginning of a new era in New England. But Miami looks like they want to go after this guy. He's 28 years old. He's an offensive guard. Miami looking to rebuild quickly, seeing the opportunity in the AFC East that may be an open window. Miami also in the news. Coach Flores says that he's interested in Logan Ryan, the 29-year-old. Logan Ryan is a free agent. He's a defensive back from Tennessee, the Titans. Now, if Miami gobbles up some of these players, and with the talent they have in Miami and with how they came on at the end of the year, maybe Miami is a different team in 2020. But there's another team in Florida that is, I think, is selling out. I think they are just selling off everything they have. The Jacksonville Jaguars, to me, at this point, is indicating to me that they are going to London. I can see it. It smells like it. It looks like it. They are continuing to release and just try to trade away their biggest chips, their biggest players, some of their best players. They just traded away A.J. Bouye yesterday. He's gone. Who else is on the list? Calais Campbell is now on the list of being traded away or released. They are dumping players left and right. Guess who else is on the trading block? Nick Foles is on the trading block in Jacksonville. They're trying to dump money. They're trying to get rid of veterans that are just holding them down financially and trying to do something that they are believing that they're going to go to London. The preparation for London. The moment the NFLPA accepts, the union accepts the owner's proposal of the 17-game schedule, it opens the door for London to have a team. London's going to get a team. Jacksonville plays there every year. They're going to play there again. They are basically the adopted team in a lot of ways. London, the Jaguars look like they are getting prepared. The Jaguars are looking like a team they want to move on. There are reports also that are trade interest in some of their offensive linemen in Jacksonville. Yes, coming out of Jacksonville reports that interest in Jaguars left guard Andrew Noel and center Brandon Linder. Releasing them will create a $5.5 million cap space also. They are trying to clean out. Jacksonville is trying to go into London. It just sounds and smells like it, folks. They are just, everything you read about Jacksonville is all about getting rid of players. Think about it. Think about what's going on there. All right. Here's another big story. It's big. Tom Brady's been tied to a lot of teams, interest in the Raiders, the Chargers, the Colts, the Buccaneers. But where is Tom Brady going? Now it's San Francisco, the 49ers. How does the 49ers sign Tom Brady when they have Jimmy Garoppolo, who went to a Super Bowl, who is so close from winning a Super Bowl? I don't know if it's Garoppolo's fault. Actually, to me, it wasn't Garoppolo's fault. He didn't have a great game. He wasn't a Super Bowl quarterback outstanding, but they were winning that Super Bowl in the fourth quarter. Like, they were on their way winning their Super Bowl. And Garoppolo would be the dude, right? But why is Tom Brady so intriguing in San Francisco? He was a 49er fan growing up, a Joe Montana lover. He was a Niner fan. And going back home to retire in a couple of years as a 49er, it's probably something he has thought about, and this is his opportunity. The other thing is, Tom Brady knows that the 49ers are ready to win now. And he could step into that role and go right back to another Super Bowl with the 49ers, a team that he loves, and winning a Super Bowl as a Niner would just be the icing on the cake from a very long career, successful career of Tom Brady to kind of start as a young kid in San Fran and end your career, your football career as a San Francisco 49er, something that he dreamed of. And having a legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl for the next couple of years. If Tom Brady, well, we don't know if Tom Brady's skill set diminishing. It looked like it diminished last year, but that's still the question and the debate if this goes down in San Francisco. The New England Patriots have until the 18th of March to sign him. Obviously, they're not moving fast enough, or Tom Brady's mind has been made up. Number 2 or 3 on this, Tom Brady is going to test the market. Tom Brady's going to choose something here. He still may go back to New England, but the way New England's been talking lately and the way they have a lot of free agents, that team is being dismantled also. I think New England's dismantling their team. I think there is a transition in New England right now. I really do. And Tom Brady knows it, sees it, and realizes it. If I'm going to play more football, New England's not the place anymore. I'm getting hit more. The team is not as good. We hung on. Somehow we got into the playoffs with that because maybe I'm Tom Brady and Belichick, but now I got to move on. And to go to the best place is San Francisco. But how does Garoppolo deal with that? What goes on with that? Does Brady mentor Garoppolo? Does Garoppolo need more mentoring? Does San Francisco really would go for it and go, you know what? Screw it. We're just trying to win. And we got Garoppolo and we got Brady. But then again, you're going to have a lot of money, salary cap issues. Okay? There is reports that they're closing hard on Tom Brady. Tom Curran, reporter, journalist, is coming through with this. He is a local New England reporter journalist, but he's been on this story. Okay? It'll cost the 49ers nearly $22.5 million in cap space if they trade Jimmy Garoppolo. Think about that one. 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan, okay, has a good relationship with Belichick. And obviously has vivid memories of Brady and all those comebacks and Super Bowls. Does Jimmy Garoppolo go back to New England where Belichick loved him? Could that be a wild scene? Think about this drama story. This is a soap opera in its own right. It's possible. But is San Francisco willing to go for Tom Brady for 2 years and release or trade away, I should say, Garoppolo, your future young quarterback that you can have for 10 years. Is that worth it? For me, no. Jimmy Garoppolo is capable of winning a Super Bowl too. Just like Tom Brady could possibly win you a Super Bowl in next season or one more year after that, depending on Tom Brady, if he's really Tom Brady anymore, physically too. So really, when I look at the comparison of the two quarterbacks, yeah, Tom Brady's name is there, but anybody can feel and say Garoppolo could still win a Super Bowl or two with San Francisco with that team. Unless San Francisco realizes their window is a, what, 3 to 4 year window before they have all these contracts come up and they're going to lose players, it's going to break apart. But the mainstay in the NFL is what? Quarterback. Stability at that position. And they finally got their guy in Garoppolo. Why would they do this? Unless they want to hold on to Garoppolo and tell Tom, we're just going to give you a 2-year contract, but we're going back to Jimmy G. Then what happens to Jimmy G? Oh, man, what a scenario developing in San Francisco with the possibility we're just 14 days away from the opening bell of free agency. Look out. Speaking of free agency, speaking of a former 49er, potential Hall of Famer, yeah, I think he's a Hall of Famer. Frank Gore does not expect to sign back with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills expect him not to return to the Bills. So it looks like Gore will be joining a new team in 2020. Why not? He's been all over the place already. He's still good, still effective. He averaged like 4 yards a carry last season. Over the last 5 years, probably, I think it's right, he's averaged close to 4 yards a carry. Not bad for a guy his age. Okay? He's 37 years old, Frank Gore, and he's running like a 25-year-old still. But somebody's going to use him and utilize him. He's not an everyday down back, but he's definitely somebody that they would like on their team. Big story coming out of Baltimore, Matt Judon. He's a nice linebacker, number 99 for the Baltimore Ravens. Guy plays some ball for the Ravens. He's like, I thought their best defensive player, right? You would think. Maybe the top 3 defensive players for the team. Reports coming out, Ian Rappaport, NFL, says the Ravens, perhaps more than any other team, have proven willingly to pursue what? To trade him? Franchise tag him? Here's the story. The Baltimore Ravens, being reported, most likely will franchise tag Matt Judon. But then trade him. Trade him. Is there a financial problem in Baltimore with a young talent who is a game changer? Or is the money price tag too high? And they see that, and they have to let it go. But they want to franchise tag him and then try to trade him to get value back. They don't want to lose him. Or they get compensation to the value of Judon's skill set and what he performed last year, which would be a very high compensation for the Baltimore Ravens. But what's going on in Baltimore to let go and do that? Is there some financial problem there with their, roster? Josh Jacobs looks like he's the main guy in Las Vegas with the Raiders. Mike Mayock, the general manager, that Jacobs is still heavily involved in the passing game next season. They still want to use him, but they also don't want to overuse the young guy. He's 22 years old. This is going to be his sophomore season. Following that up, a lot of times rookies have a sophomore slump, okay? And they don't want to overwork this guy. He had a lot of work last year, but they expect him to still be the everyday down running back. but look for the Raiders to find some help to give him a breather, to take care of him, especially if there is a future 17-game schedule. You got to start thinking about players like a running back and keeping them healthy and strong for the long term of their contract. All right. Also, Darius Geese also involved in the Redskins offense, but also the Redskins have a nice combination of running backs. Ron Rivera loves it. Okay, he loves it. Rivera had Christian McCaffrey, but now he has Darius Geese, and he feels like he can utilize Geese the same way McCaffrey was used in Carolina. Adrian Peterson's still there. Okay, Chris Thompson's there, but may not return because of free agency. We'll see what happens in Washington. More news in Denver. Denver looking to what now? Maybe re-sign Chris Harris after AJ Bouye, who became a Bronco yesterday, or this week. But there are reports that the Jets, the Texans, the Raiders, and the Cowboys have big interest in Chris Harris. He's a good, talented guy, experienced guy. A lot of teams can use a Chris Harris as a cornerback. But the combination of Harris and Bouye in Denver could be, and with that pass rush they have in Denver, that defense becomes very dominant in my eyes. Let's see what happens with the Broncos if they try to retain and re-sign Chris Harris along with their big trade pickup yesterday. The Broncos are still looking for more running back help. Kenyon Drake is in their point of view on their list. Jordan Howard, Melvin Gordon, and Carlos Hyde. They want a dual threat backfield along with Philip Lindsay. The potential of the free agency crop is great at running back. They see it. Dak Prescott. Is Dak Prescott worth a lot of money? You tell me. I'm going to get into that in a minute. How much would you spend on a Dak Prescott? Get some comments here, and then we're going to get into more. Hello, guys. I appreciate it. Felix says, Mr. Ball himself is an idiot, doesn't know anything about genetics. Doesn't know anything about genetics, Felix, but also just ignorant about, racially, he made a mistake. That's a racial comment in a racist way. Horrible. Cardinals need a vet, and rumors out of there. Niners are true. Bring Garoppolo to Arizona. Hey, would you trade? Arizona was not going to do that, but man, if Garoppolo's there, what do you do? Cardinals don't have to sit on Kyler Murray, but they are going to. But man, there just seems like there is an abundance of quarterbacks now more than ever. Sometimes, man, when you make decisions too early, you got to be patient. Cardinals could have had a really nice opportunity with a quarterback right now. Bradley in the house. Ernest, Tasha in the house. Crystal in the house. Elizabeth Fielder in the house. All righty, guys. All right, let's get to it more. And more news coming in. NFL news. Calais Campbell, Brandon Linder, Andrew Norwell, Bowie, Nick Foles. These are Jacksonville Jaguar players that are being either released, traded, or not re-signed. They are looking to clean out, and to me, the Jacksonville Jaguars are headed to London in the near future, maybe by next season. Maybe one more year in Jacksonville, and they're gone. They're gone. 1 year in Jacksonville, and they're gone. Be prepared, London. The Jags are coming. All right, speaking of Dak Prescott, okay, highest paid quarterbacks. Russell Wilson, Roethlisberger, Rodgers, Goff, and Wentz. From $32 million up to $35 million, okay? Dak Prescott is making $680,000 a year, or that's what he was making. He has 40 wins. 40 wins since 2016. 40 wins since 2016. Only Russell Wilson matches those amount of wins. Only Russell Wilson has 40 wins. Now, Ben Roethlisberger was hurt Probably would have 40 right now, 41, right? Rodgers was also hurt not too long ago. He's at 33 wins, probably be closer to 40 himself. Jared Goff and Carson Wentz has been hurt a lot, and he has 32. So let's put that in perspective. Dak Prescott wasn't hurt, but you got to give him credit. There are 40 wins under his belt since 2016. So how much? I mean, he's asking for $30 million. And the Cowboys haven't jumped on it. Dak may want $40 million. Is he worth that much? No. I think Dak should be $25 million quarterback. But I don't think, I don't know, Cowboys, man. I mean, where does Dak go? Who wants a Dak Prescott as a quarterback? Think about that. In a couple of weeks, Dak Prescott is there for the taking. But are you willing to spend those millions of dollars on that quarterback? This is going to be a wacky, crazy free agency. This is going to be better than the draft. The draft is like the dessert after free agency starts. Okay. All right. And how much are the Cowboys worth? So you don't want to spend that kind of money, right? You know, when Jerry Jones bought the Dallas Cowboys back in 1989, he paid $140 million. Today, the Dallas Cowboys are valued at $5.5 billion. That's huge. There's a lot of money there. I know they have the money to spend for a Dak Prescott, but do they want a Dak Prescott? The Cincinnati Bengals, number 1 pick. They have had 3 in their history. 3 of them. And I would say out of the 3, only one of them had a really nice career, but not all of them with the Bengals. Dan Wilkerson, 1994, number 1 draft pick. Played 4 seasons with the Bengals, 0 Pro Bowls. 1995, the Bengals again. Keyjana Carter out of Penn State. Remember him. 4 seasons with the Bengals, 0 bust Pro Bowls. Nothing. Carson Palmer, USC, 2003. First pick overall in the draft. 7 seasons with the Bengals. Made the playoffs. 2 Pro Bowls. Not bad. Probably should have kept him. Actually, looking back on everything, you should have kept Carson Palmer to the end. Carson was the only, but he had a lot of success away from Cincinnati too. But where are the Bengals this year? They got to make a big decision. Joe Burrow is the guy they are all talking about being in Cincinnati. The Ohio boy, going back to Ohio, staying in Ohio. Everything else lines up perfectly. And then there's this report about his hand size. Now, how much is that going to have an effect? It would only have an effect in cold weather games. Now, how often it's going to be cold weather games in Cincinnati? December and January. And not necessarily cold. The reason being, the fear of smaller hands in cold weather, holding a football, gripping a football, throwing a ball, is a metric dynamic to how they scout athletes these days when they draft. How much is that a big deal for the Bengals? For that. Or you go for Oregon's quarterback who has played in weather, is more adapted to weather conditions than Joe Burrow has down in Louisiana. I don't believe it's a big deal, but when you get that one game where it's, and in Cincinnati, it can get down to the zeros, especially in January, and that's your projection, is to be a playoff contending, Super Bowl contending team in the future, right? And you have that game, even at home in Cincinnati or on the road somewhere where it's cold. There will be spot games where the weather will be cold, and just maybe those hands are a big deal. But they wear gloves now, and the grip's different. But they're trying to make it out to be bigger than what it is. For the most part, I would say for 90 some odd percent of the season, including playoffs, I don't think weather is a big factor with smaller hands. Joe Burrow has a small hand or two. What do the Bengals do? We'll find out soon next month in April with an NFL draft. Okay, so here's a story coming out of Pittsburgh. Big story coming out of Pittsburgh. The Steelers feel from watching Ben Roethlisberger after having his season-ending surgery back in September. They recognize that the surgery and the injury wasn't as devastating of an injury as first being noted, that his recovery has gone so well that they are saying that his arm is going to be bigger and better and stronger. And coming from their general manager, Colbert, he thinks he'll come back hungrier and wants to prove he's not done. So there's a lot of upside to this whole scenario with Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh. I put out a post about Roethlisberger and the Steelers. They won 8 games last year. They nearly won 3 or 4. If they had an offense, they win 3 or 4 games. And all of a sudden, they're challenging the Ravens for a division title. They're the ones in the playoffs also. With Big Ben, I think the Steelers win at least 2 of those games, and they're in the playoffs. Right? Yes. So Ben Roethlisberger might be better than ever after elbow surgery. That's coming from the Steelers general manager. And that's good news for Steeler fans. Here's more good news for Steeler fans after having his best career season in Pittsburgh. Bud Dupree, the linebacker, who had a tremendous year. Both owner Art Rooney and coach Mike Tomlin have called re-signing Dupree a top priority throughout the offseason. It's easy to see why the 27-year-old edge defender set career highs in Pittsburgh with 11.5 sacks. He's got TJ Watt on the other side. That tandem was one of the best tandems in football last season. The Steelers' defense is really good, but those two really create havoc. Dupree finally maybe coming into his own, or did come into his own last season. But it was a contract year, and a lot of guys step up their game. But does Dupree able to translate one season into the next few seasons and give the Steelers what they got in 2019? The presence of all-world outside linebacker TJ Watt, who I felt was a defensive player of the year. Dupree and him together will continue to create a lot of problems against offensive lines. You have to worry about both of them. They are so good. But we'll see what happens in Pittsburgh. They don't want to lose him. He fits them, and they are ready to roll in Pittsburgh with that defense, keeping it all intact. In Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers are okay, are likely not to keep Jameis Winston. NBC Sports' Peter King considers the Bucs likely to move on from free agent Jameis Winston, another quarterback out there. Just say there's going to be a lot of quarterbacks in free agency. Winston, Dak, Brady, Rivers. I mean, what's going on? Foles wants to be traded, or they're going to trade Foles. Unbelievable what's going on in the NFL right now. All right, more comments coming in. Elizabeth, I see, and Todd, Eddie, Kim in the house. Hey, Kim. And Andy McClure in the house. All right. All right, guys. One more comment here, and we're going to get out of here. I appreciate you all popping in, watching. This has been a full NFL show for you. Tomorrow I'll have more baseball for you. Just so you know, we're getting close to the end of the show. I got 5 more minutes, and we're out of here. But I want to make sure we get more updates. Joe Burrow speaking out today, says, please don't compare me to Tom Brady. Okay. Patriots wide receiver Sanu underwent successful ankle injury. Darius Leonard, the Colts' great linebacker, backing up his quarterback Brissett as rumors are swirling about Tom Brady and other quarterbacks coming to Indianapolis. So those are your headline news for the football for today, Wednesday, March 4th, 2020. Let's recap what we did today, and then we're going to close it out. Let's go back up to the top. We talked right off the top about the state of Arizona. The state of Arizona has voted to ban transgender girls and women from participating in intramural and interscholastic athletics that does not match the biological sex. The bill was passed 31 to 29. The components of this being passed and that was presented to the voters in the House in Arizona. The bill, sponsored by Rep. Nancy Barto, said this: the bill relied on three-part tests to determine the eligibility to participate on the team. The three things that they looked at strongly: the student's internal and external reproductive anatomy, the student's normal, natural produced levels of testosterone, and the analysis of the student's genetic makeup. There was pushback on this. The pushback was that the bill was all about the show me your genitals bill. It had nothing to do with that. I think that's pretty much, that was a quote or a statement coming out from the opposing people on the bill. I don't like that. I think it's just, I'm just tired of, smashing and trash talking, things like that. It just for attention. This has nothing to do with transphobic and unnecessary. This is not unnecessary. It is necessary, and this is nothing with transphobic. And to put that, because nobody is bashing transphobic or transgenders. They're upset because their daughters are competing against transgenders. And I don't understand the logic and the rationalization of the people who opposed the bill in Arizona that was voted in favor 31 to 29. That transgenders in women and girls sports in the state of Arizona cannot participate. Enough said. It's on. Finally, bigger stand. Thank God for Arizona. Bless you for doing the right thing. And you know what? And we support the transgender, and time will be in the future where there'll be more competition, finding a way for them to participate. The state of Arizona, the Scholastics, the AIA, the Arizona Interscholastic Association will find a way to keep them participating and competing, the transgender, but not against girls or women. Okay? Kabish? Kabish. All right, more about the Ball family. This is another disgusting, I wouldn't say the last one was disgusting, but this one is. Lavar Ball, the father of the sons who were playing basketball and the hoops, I won't call them stars, the sneaker shoe, everything else, making millions of dollars, did some good things the American way, but very controversial. And he says things that are just not, I think, ignorant. And yesterday, this was ignorant and horrible and disgusting. Lavar Ball blames that his son's lack of having bodies, man bodies, he blames it on his wife for being Caucasian. Isn't that effed up? That's so effed up. Oh my God. During Tuesday's edition of Undisputed, Lavar Ball, Mr. Daddy, was asked about his son's lack of having a body of a man to play the game of basketball, I guess, or be an athlete. To which the father explained, Mr. Ball, that it had to do with their mother being Caucasian. Oh, man. Wow. Wow. Now, where is the hysteria about racism there? It just shows me once again that all races has their discrimination against others. People in general, the human existence of people carry a discrimination gene in them. It seems like we are trying to do the right things. We know it's right and wrong, but there's something about but discriminating against a gender and especially against a race, but doesn't get talked about unless it's particularly or selected. That's what bothers me. You select the argument, you select the controversy, you select the bashing, you select what attacking you need to do, which benefits what your agenda is. But how does that make other people feel? How does that make, you know, a Caucasian person feel? That are people walking around looking at them that they're weak and slow and not able to compete because you're white. I mean, isn't that everything that is supposed to be not like we're not supposed to be a racist society, right? We're supposed to be keep working on this. And now you're bringing into athletics. People have been fired over this stuff. Amazing. Freaking amazing. Gross. Gross. I truly believe all races have their issues within their own race and discriminating or a racial something towards others. It's just something that we continue. This is a global thing. People are raised differently, said differently. This is not just a U.S. thing, too, by the way. But in America, we're a melting pot and we're supposed to be the best of the best. And we cannot accept LaVar Ball's comments at all. And let it be known that that's uncalled for. You cannot get away with that. Cannot get away with that. All right. I think I wrapped it up for you, right? I got one more comment and that's it. And we're out of here. I got like 60 seconds before I got to say goodbye. Hey, YouTubers, I thank you, man. I appreciate it. All righty. Tony Romo got a big contract of $17 million to return to CBS as their color analyst on their A-unit team, broadcast team. Football players, J.J. Watt, $15.5 million, Odell Beckham, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and then there's Antonio Brown, who didn't make anything last year. But Tony Romo made a lot of money. If Tony Romo was in his prime right now with the Dallas Cowboys, he would make $30 million. I mean, the way things are played out right now, he's a $30 million quarterback in his prime. But now he's a TV guy. And he's a really good one. I think Tony Romo is a great analyst. He's fun. He's easy to listen to. He explains it well. He sees things happening before the ball snapped. So he really is dived into it. And he is the quarterback. He's a quarterback on the TV broadcast. And CBS made a great move because they have one of the best in the business, Tony Romo. And I believe Tony Romo is one of the best analysts in the game for broadcasting football games. He's fun to watch. He's fun, easy to get along with. Watching him, meaning just one of those guys that you just don't. And if you don't like him, it means because he was a cowboy, or you just have that hatred, analytical side of you. But just see for what it is. His job is to analyze and give you what he's seen, and from his perspective as a former quarterback in the NFL. He gets it. He understands the game. He understands today's game, and he presents the game so well on TV, on camera, and he communicates it so well, and he gives us so much information. He's very knowledgeable, and he feeds us. He teaches us. He prepares us. That's what you want from your color analyst. We want somebody who is informing us. Remember I told you, and I'll repeat it again, you got to have a story. You got to be informative, and you got to have entertainment value. Tony Romo tells us stories, gets into it. He's informative, and he's a good entertainer. He has fun on the air. He's not difficult to watch. He hits it. It's a home run. It's a powerful three. That's why he's worth $17 million. CBS did the right thing. They really did. All right, comments, and we say goodbye on this Wednesday. Dale Carter, you need a haircut. No, baby, I'm going Jesus. I'm going, give me somebody else. Somebody else with long hair. I'm going Cornelius. How about that? Felix says, have a great day. You too. John Turner, hey, John, thanks for popping in. Colette, hey, Colette. Hey, John says, him and Antonio Brown done with white. Funny as it may sound, but it's a good joke, John. It's a good joke. It's a good joke. I just can't believe the ball comment. I don't know how you feel about that, John, but that's pretty. I mean, you can't get away with that, John. You can't. Nobody can get away with that. They shouldn't. If we're going to stop racism, we're going to try to be unified better and better. We can't allow and just laugh like those guys did on that set on the Undisputed show on Fox. They cannot accept that. They cannot. We cannot. Work on the pull out the game, bro. Pull out. What's that? Wait. Work on that. Pull out the game. Oh, I get you. Can't believe Lavar Ball. Here we go. Lavar says, my sons are next All-Stars. They're going to be the best, and they're not. I think his oldest got a chance to stay in the league as a point guard. He's so young. Andrew, Stephen Harris, Efren Barlow. Hey, Efren. Love you, man. Miss you. All righty. Oh, more comments. Did I miss it? I can't believe Lavar. Yeah, Colette, can you believe what he said? Isn't that disgusting? Colette, you got it right. Totally got it right. All right. I got to get it right and get out of here, guys. I appreciate it. I'll repost the show. I'll go repost it live later on today around 5 o'clock Arizona time, 7 o'clock Eastern time, and 4 o'clock Pacific time, okay? It'll get replayed live again. I think my topics were strong today. I dived into some politics and some really good stuff for people to debate and talk about and opinionize themselves. Always sensitive to all people, but just really trying to make sense and rationalize about what we talked about today. Okay, guys, love you guys. I appreciate you popping in. Don't forget to always listen to Global Sports Broadcasting Network, YouTube Live. People, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Right here on Facebook Live. Love you guys. For Hanna Time and for Cornelius Brad Hanna, we will come back tomorrow. More baseball tomorrow, though. Right there. Baseball. We got a lot of baseball talk tomorrow. We'll switch gears. There's a lot of sports. We love sports. March Madness is coming on. We're going to get mad at somebody. All right, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Thursday. Have a great Wednesday. All right, YouTubers. Thank you, guys.